Ever stop to think how much those little impulse buys on your phone are adding up to, and how many subscription payments are sneaking out of your bank account every single month? Before I started using Rocket Money, let me tell you, I had no idea. But the first time I logged in, I saved $435. I couldn't believe it. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I just love the dashboard. It shows everything in one place, even the subscriptions you forgot you signed up for. And if there's something you don't need, Rocket Money helps you cancel it. Plus, it alerts you if a bill increases or if something unusual pops up in your account. It's basically like having a personal assistant for your money. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/Kim today. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. rocketmoney.com/Kim.
Welcome to the Kim Komando Show podcast for the weekend of July 6th, 2024. Thank you for listening to the Kim Komando Show. Here's hour one.
I always like to kick things off with something fun and interesting, and this happened in Naples, Florida. Could you imagine? You're just sitting there at home with your kids, and something crashes through the roof, through the second floor, through the first floor. It's a piece of space junk, weighed 2 pounds. It's believed to be some old batteries. Yes, I said old batteries that the International Space Station just threw away about 3 years ago, hoping that they would just burn up when they were coming back to Earth. So think about this one. There are over 25,000 pieces of space junk floating around Earth right now. That's a lot of stuff. Speaking of, did you hear about the film that they're making where Dallas gets destroyed by space junk? Yes, it's a film where Dallas gets destroyed by space junk. You know what they're calling it? Debris Does Dallas. Oh, yes, that was a great one. Hey, listen, you're about ready to get more tech smarts because every single thing now is a tech thing. I'm, of course, Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you once again. And you have tapped into the best show, the biggest show, the most trusted show, the award-winning show about all things digital. And you can find us on over 420 top stations just across the United States. And you can find us as a podcast, as a webcast, commercial-free, inside the Komando community. Or if you're on Apple, go ahead and search for Kim Komando Show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And again, inside the Komando community. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching 375,000 American servicemen and women in 175 countries and 200 ships at sea get the Kim Komando Show. I just love that. All right. Every single day, I go to at least 35 different websites to make sure that you and I are both up to date on what's going on in the techverse. And here are the top 5 things you need to know about tech. It's happening right now. And this Monday, yes, it's going to happen. The total eclipse is going to pass all over America from Uvalde, Texas, all the way to Houghton, Maine. It's going to be a gorgeous sight for sure. But here's what's happening on social media. All the conspiracy theorists are out. And a lot of them are Gen Zers. They've never really witnessed a solar eclipse, and they didn't really care about it in 2017. So here's an end of the world sample. Cell phones are going to be down forever throughout maybe the whole week, and the power is going to go out. Okay, it's not going to really happen. Okay, another one is that the eclipse is going to darken the entire Earth for 5 days. Oh, no. How about God's wrath theory? God is judging us. The proof is that the eclipse passes through 8 cities named Nineveh, an Old Testament city that God judged. It doesn't. It actually goes through 2. Finally, stock up on water, survival food, cash. It's okay if you want to, but you don't need it for the eclipse. Okay, but here's the deal. No matter where you are in the United States, head to science.nasa.gov. That's science.nasa.gov. And they have this beautiful eclipse map. And you can see how it's going to affect you. It's really going to be seen all throughout the country. I mean, 49% as far as coverage in the state of California, 84% of the eclipse is going to be seen in Atlanta. So you still need to have your glasses. Now, fake solar proof glasses are for sale online. Get the wrong ones, you're going to damage your eyeballs. So look for ISO 12312-2. That's 12312-2. You want those on the frames. All right, moving on to number 2, TikTok is defending itself. And they're saying, we don't really collect that much information off of our users. And so I don't know why everybody's so upset. Okay, here's a list of everything that TikTok, the communist China app, is getting from us. every message that you sent or received, who you sent it to, your browsing habits, what you buy, the files that you download, the nuances of your keystrokes, the backdrop of your videos, points of interest around you, biometric data, faces, expressions, every text, every tap, every location, all handed over to the Chinese government. So how do you feel about TikTok right now? Okay, it's still your call. If you still want to use TikTok knowing that they're getting a copy of every single thing that you do on your phone, my advice is just use a burner phone. Moving on to number 3. Wow. Put the phone away. Over 60% of folks admit to using their phones in their cars. 24% say they are actually using Instagram and scrolling while they're driving. Oh, that's pretty scary. New report from the Governor's Highway Safety Administration and Cambridge Mobile Telematics. Oh, they took a look at cell phone data of drivers in 4 states that have gone hands-free: Alabama, Michigan, Missouri, and Ohio. Now, in these states, you cannot touch your phone at all. No changing music, directions, making calls, texting, nothing. If you do get caught, you have to pay a big fine. But listen to this. In Ohio, since they put their foot down for a hands-free law about a year ago, they've managed to avoid over 3,000 accidents, prevented injuries for 1,700 people, and saved 14 lives going hands-free. Moving on to number 4. This is really interesting. An Army vet was busted for lying about his disabilities to snag benefits. But the real shocker is how they caught him. After receiving a tip that Bruce Hay was not really disabled, Kansas cops filled his front porch for 68 days, 15 hours a day. They didn't need a warrant. What? Yes, they put a camera on a pole across the street from his house. And then there they saw what he was doing, going in and out of the house, who was coming, who was going. They learned a lot about Mr. Hayes' activities and associations. So the question is watching someone's house like this against the Fourth Amendment, which obviously protects against unreasonable searches? Now, the courts have decided that since the cameras are pretty much everywhere these days, there is not an expectation of privacy in the front of your house anymore. Wow. And finally, this coming in at number 5, it's a new kind of circus act. Forget the lions and tigers and bears and elephants. No, today's circuses don't have animals. Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus closed its doors in 2017. We all remember because, oh my gosh, it was just horrible how they were treating animals. Over 150 violations. So they're rolling out the red carpet. They're coming back in business with Bailey, the robotic dog. This little dog can roll and leap and dance wirelessly. You can actually buy one of these yourself. It's the Unitree Robotics Go 1 model, about $2,700. It has a 45-minute battery life. So the worst thing that the circus can do is forget to charge it, right? Oh, how about a bad joke? You ready? How do you kill a circus? How do you kill a circus? Anyone? Go for the juggler. Oh, yeah, that was great. All right, still to come, we have some great tips. Oh, my gosh, how to opt out of unsolicited credit cards. Is the Wi-Fi safe on airplanes? And also we've got some ways to catch creepy Airbnb hosts. And, of course, we have all of your great phone calls. And you have me, Kim Commando. Hey, I just want to give you $500. I'm going to give you a $500 Amazon gift card, but you have to enter to win it. How? Go to winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. All right, we're going to talk about how you can get Amazon Prime movie tickets for free. But how about first we get started with Elaine in Corpus Christi, Texas. Hey, Elaine.
Well, I was a very foolish person, and I ended up getting scammed. And basically, my question for you, after I've settled down, I was going through websites looking for FBI somewhere to report what had happened to me. And I kept seeing these websites about people being able to get your money back for you. And so I was wondering, I needed to ask the digital goddess if any of these are legit.
Well, how did you get scammed?
I was on one of my genealogy websites, and all of a sudden this thing jumped out, and for some reason I had my volume up, and it started yelling at me and flashing at me, and I'm going, and I panicked.
Okay.
And stupid thing number one, it had a phone number for Microsoft Shield.
Okay.
And I tried closing things, and it was telling me, don't shut down your computer, blah, blah, blah. Stupid me, I called the phone number. And so this fellow on the other end, he said, okay, the first thing I asked him, how much is this going to cost me? Oh, nothing, this is free. It's Microsoft, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so he had me run some scans. I typed in everything. He did not have, wasn't doing anything in my computer. So I was typing in all this stuff. And it came up that I had been infected by Tiny Bank Trojan. And he showed me a Wikipedia article about what Tiny Bank Trojan was. And so then he said, on a secure line, I'm going to contact you, because I do 2 credit cards in my bank on my computer. And so we needed to contact all 3 of them to let them know what's going on and stop them. So the first thing we did was go to my credit union, and he said, we're going to do this on a secure line on a different number.
Was this all by phone only, or is it video
ma'am.
too? Okay. All right.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
he's
no.
okay.
Just phone.
Okay.
So he comes on and says he's from my credit union, and his name is Alex, and blah, blah, blah. We're going through all this stuff. And he comes back and he said, there are 2 charges pending against my savings account. One of them was a $500 one for Amazon. The other one was $21,000 something from Pornhub. And I'm going, okay. And I said, no, I did not do those.
Okay.
And so he goes back and like he's talking to somebody, and he comes back, we can get rid of the Amazon one, but the other one was pre-approved. And I said, what do you mean it's pre-approved? And he said, we called your phone number, and the person on the other end line said it was okay to do that. And I said, I didn't do that. Did not do that. And my word of advice to anybody is, first of all, don't panic. Take a deep breath and turn your computer off.
Right.
That's my advice. Anyway, so then he says the only way we can get rid of it is to create a insufficient funds scenario in my account, so that charge would bounce, and then it would be gone, and then every time I tell this story, I get sicker and sicker to my stomach because I was so damn stupid. Excuse me. Anyway, so he had me. We went out and we withdrew $20,000 out of. I had 2 savings accounts, so we took money out of both of those savings accounts. Had to go to 2 different little branches to get all of it, and then they send me to this ATM machine, which I now realize what I ended up buying was Bitcoin. And as I'm driving back home from Corpus Christi back to my home, and I just started thinking, and I knew I'd been had before I even got home. How stupid it was.
Wow.
Ugh.
So all
like
totaled,
said,
how much were you scammed out of? Like what, 21 grand?
20,000. Yep. Anyway, and like I said, and here's the kicker to it. My son's in IT, and I got chewed real bad from him, about, I know better than this, blah, blah, blah. How'd you do that? Anyway, but and then after that, he's been sympathetic. But
well, you know what? Don't beat yourself up too much. You got scammed. You fell for it. You panicked. You thought you were doing the right thing, and you just have to move on. I mean,
right.
You can continue to berate yourself, or you can empower yourself, which is what you just did by telling that story, because who knows how many people you just helped who may fall for the same thing, but then they're going to say, you know what? I heard Elaine talking about this on the Kim Komando show. Sounds just like what she went through. I'm going to turn my computer off. So now you become an advocate. Okay.
Right.
What I don't want you to do is fall for the scam recovery scams.
I got that phone call when I was at the bank the next morning to change my accounts. They told me they would call me back at 9:30 in the morning, and sure enough, they did. And by that time, I was livid. And when he called me, he said, "Are you at home?" And I said, "No, I'm at the bank getting new accounts. And I hope your grandmother's proud of you, what you scammed an old lady," and hung up on him. I was so mad. Then the next day, I got another phone call telling me that they were the Bitcoin support something or other, and they were going to help me get my money back. And man, did I give that guy an earful. I was so angry.
Well, at him. Did you file a complaint with the FBI?
Now that's another story. Not directly. I did. I started to in the office in Corpus Christi. I couldn't get into the office unless I had an appointment. And the 2 web sites they have you go to fill out forms about your scam. Neither one of the forms fit the scenario of what happened to me. None of it fit.
Okay, well,
so I ended up going to the Corpus Christi Police Department and filed a report there, and they told me to file a report with the Federal Trade Commission, which I did.
Okay, and then I would also go back to that bank, and I'd say, how come you let me do this? How come? These are all the red flags. Have I ever withdrew $20,000 at once in the history of my account with you? Have I ever done this? You need to fight with the bank to get your money back too. They should be protecting you. You are their customer. And make sure that you do file that complaint with the FTC. I'd be a little bit angry at the FBI. I'd try that one more time. And make sure that you write all this out as a scenario, because if you have it all written out now while it's fresh in your mind, is that when it comes time to share your story with everybody else, you can just say, yep, here's the Word doc. Go ahead, read it for yourself. But don't fall in for any recovery scams. Anybody who says that they can get the money back, they cannot get the money back. They're going to steal from you again and again and again and again. If you do see something because your son's in IT, make sure that you run this by him as well. He's a smart guy. Okay. And he's not going to, you go to him for help now. He's not going to berate you. He's going to say, you know what, Mom, thanks for letting me try to help you. Elaine, I'm so sorry. Everybody else who's listening, learn from this, please. You got to be brave to make that phone call. You really, really do. All right. Here's what I want you to do. Go to primepremiere.amazon.com, primepremiere.amazon.com, because there you're going to see a list of movie screenings near you. And then you can reserve tickets. That's right. You can see movies for free. Oh, my gosh. And check the site a week ahead and you can grab up to 2 tickets for a 7 p.m. showing. They say you want to arrive by 6:15 p.m. because what? You get complimentary popcorn and a drink. Oh, here's a Prime Amazon membership that you didn't know about, I bet. Once again, it's primepremiere.amazon.com, primepremiere.amazon.com. All right, still to come. Oh, you're in a real treat. I have a great little snippet to play you from an interview this past week that I did with Guy Kawasaki. And of course, we have more of your phone calls here on this Coast to Coast broadcast of The Kim Komando Show. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise, home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim. All right, what we're talking about is the Wi-Fi safe on the airplanes, really good to use. Ways to catch some creepy Airbnb and Vrbo hosts. And before we get to all of that, have you ever found yourself just overflowing in your mailbox by saying like, oh, I'm so tired of these unsolicited credit card offers. How do I make it stop? There's something called opt-out pre-screen. Okay, it's a tool developed by credit bureaus. So what you do is you go to optoutprescreen.com. Once again, optoutprescreen.com. Then you can say, you know what? Take me off the list. I don't want to be on this list anymore. All right. The other day, I had such a great time during Kim Komando Today. That's our podcast that we do video as well as audio on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. You can watch the show and get the show audio wherever you want. And but really, Facebook.com/Kim Komando, YouTube.com/Kim Komando, X.com, wherever, Rumble.com/Kim Komando. But anyway, this past week, Guy Kawasaki came on board because he and I actually know each other. Yeah, so I like to say I know Guy Kawasaki. He's got a brand new book out called Think Remarkable, and he does a podcast called Remarkable People. So he combined all this information that he got from people about being remarkable, and I happened to be on his podcast, I don't know, probably like 9 months or so ago, about everything that we've done here on the show. And he's got a philosophy about how you become remarkable, that there are three things, okay, that you have grit, that you have growth, and you have grace. Here, take just a listen, just a snippet of the interview. So bring us back into your Mac days. What was that like working with Steve Jobs?
It was an amazing time. And, all the movies, all the books, everything you've ever heard, seen, read, they're all true. He was a very difficult person to work for. I was afraid that he would humiliate me in public. And contrary to every theory of HR where you meet with your employees, you develop mutually acceptable goals and you focus on the positive and, all the positivity and all that. He did none of that. He just scared the crap out of me. And I did some of my best work being scared. So contrary to every theory you have about positivity, sometimes fear works.
So there was no positive sandwich where like Steve Jobs would say, you know what, Guy, I'm so happy that you're here and you're bringing your talents to Apple. And, it's just amazing what you do every single day. Now, what you did right here just totally sucks, but I have the confidence that you have the skill and the wherewithal and the motivation to bring this to the next level.
And then right after that, this pallet of lead fell from space and hit the guy in the head. I mean, I'll tell you a true story. So the reason I got my job in the Macintosh division was nepotism. So my college classmate and friend hired me. I didn't have the right background in work or academics. So after I interview with Steve, my friend goes to Steve and says, so what did you think of Guy? And Steve says to him, well, I guess he's okay, but if he screws up, I'm going to fire you too. So that was my ringing endorsement. That was my onboarding at Apple. I'm going to fire your friend if you screw up too.
Well, there was you write in the book about Apple's Think Different campaign.
Yes.
Tell us that story.
Okay. This is a very expensive story, so I hope you appreciate it. So in 1997, Apple had the Think Different advertising campaign. This is the one that featured Albert Einstein and, Amelia Earhart, Richard Branson, Nelson Mandela, Einstein. And the thinking was, and it's still true apparently with your guests, that if you use a Macintosh, you had to think different like these innovators and visionaries, because back then everybody was going to be using Windows. So if you thought different like Einstein and Picasso and Richard Branson, then you thought different and you used a Macintosh. So anyway, Lee Clow from Chiat introduces these video ads to the marketing team. And at the end, he says to Steve, I have 2 copies of the videotape. I'll give one to you and I'll give one to Guy. And Steve says, don't give one to Guy. And so I said, what's the matter, Steve? Don't you trust me? And Steve says, Guy, yes, I do not trust you. So now, this is one of those man or mouse moments in your life, right? This is one of those moments when you look back and you say, why was I such a chicken? Why did I not stand up to him? And I was not going to let that happen to me. So as soon as he said, yeah, I don't trust you, I said, yes, Steve, it's okay. I don't trust you either. So I figured that cost me about $100 million in stock options. But now I get to tell that story on Kim Commando. I mean, that's worth it.
Yeah, well, we do have all those moments. Mm-hmm. I mean, where you sit there and you're like, okay, do I really say what I feel, or do I just kind of suck it up, buttercup, right? Now, you definitely want to get the entire interview, okay? And we actually went really long on the podcast with him because we had so much to talk about, okay? And what's going on with Jane Goodall and other remarkable people that he met. So again, to get the audio podcast, wherever you get your podcast, just search for Kim Commando Today. It's not the Kim Commando Show. It's Kim Commando Today. You may remember Andrew Babinski. He was our call screener for so many years. He's my co-host on there. And Ali Sullivan comes on from time to time. So you definitely don't want to miss those days. So it's wherever you get your podcast audio, search for Kim Komando today. And for the video feed, it's really just the easiest place to go is on YouTube. It's youtube.com/Kim Komando. Once again, youtube.com/Kim Komando. But you can find it on Rumble and Facebook too. All right, let's go back to all of your great phone calls right now. Jillian in Bangor, Maine.
I run a very small restaurant, work off of Route 1, so you've got to go out of the way.
Okay.
I'm going into my 4th season because it's Maine and generally restaurants are seasonal. And when I went to reopen last June for the season, I noticed that Facebook and Instagram had taken away my location tag. So I filled out help tickets, said, please, people can't tag me. And also they can't find me unless they have a history of liking my business and being, having me in their queue or whatever. So it's been a big challenge because social media and word of mouth are my primary forms of advertisement. No response from Facebook. Go figure. No response from Meta. I'm just stuck in this. You can't get a person. So I don't really know what to do, but it's hurting my business because people come and they'll find us. They'll find us on Google if they're searching for restaurants near me.
Wow. And Meta is not doing anything, which is so typical. It's so frustrating that we have this major billion-dollar corporation, but they have no customer service. It's like, okay, thanks. Imagine for just a second, Jillian, if that you weren't able to call United Airlines. Okay. It's like, oh, okay. I guess everything's just fine with my flight and you canceled it and there's nothing I can do. I just have to sit on the sidelines. We would be so ticked off. But for some reason, we get to tech companies, we think it's fine. Have you tried DMing them on social? I'm talking about going to their X account, looking at their Instagram account, and then making a public plea to say, hey, listen, here's what's the problem is. I need help right now. And so at this point, you have to get super aggressive. Okay. Because this is your livelihood, and congratulations, because running a restaurant is not easy. And we do want to have check-ins, we do want to have mentions, and we want to use hashtags because we want to have geotags so that this way, as you said on social, that people can go ahead and find you readily. What I would do at this point is I would go onto X, find the Meta, Facebook, Instagram accounts, anyone that I could find, and state my case and say, this is my problem. What can we do to fix this? I'm not getting any help, and I need help now in order to fix this. Okay, the next thing I would do after I do all that is that I would try to, I have a phone number I can give you for Meta. And we have the phone number on our website as well. So if you search for Meta phone number at komando.com, we have the phone numbers, for example, like Amazon and Microsoft and all these other companies that you can't find a phone number for. But there's no guarantee that that's going to get you to somebody who can help. I mean, it's basically just their corporate number. And that's why it might be good if you could actually find somebody who's in charge of small business at Meta. And the way that you do that is you just do a search for press release in Meta and small business. And inside there, they normally have a happy quote. And then once you have that person's name, you can call and ask for them. Then the other thing you can do is that you get onto LinkedIn and you find this person on LinkedIn, and then you get a certain number of free passes for you to contact somebody who you don't know on LinkedIn. And then after that, they want you to pay. And then I would drop them a note. I would go full aggressive. Anybody who I can find, help me fix this problem. I would just get, like I said, full blown. This is my problem. I need your help now. What can you do to fix this? And sometimes you just gotta be super demanding. That's it. Jillian, armed with all this, if this does not work, I want you to call me back and let me see what I can do. I'm not sure if I can do anything because let me tell you, I've tried to find somebody at Meta myself and they're like, there's nobody home. Nobody. And Mark Zuckerberg, he's building a bunker in Kauai. Okay. And surfing. It's so frustrating. Thanks for your call today, Julian. Isn't it crazy how big tech can just totally control your livelihood? That's why, I've never been a big fan about saying, join me on Facebook, join me on Facebook, join me on Facebook. Because when you do that as a business, you are giving up your customers. Crazy stuff. All right. So we were flying back from Japan and Barry looks over at me and goes, do you think it's safe for me to use the airplane's Wi-Fi so that this way I can check our Morgan Stanley accounts? I'm like, I wouldn't do that. I think that's a really bad idea. Okay, so as you are flying the highways and byways, I mean, if you just want to send or receive email, browse the web, social media, I think that's perfectly safe. But no financial transactions. And I know you might be thinking like, oh, I'm just going to use a VPN. Well, VPNs are more likely to drop off in flight, and that leaves you unprotected and out in the open. It's not the VPN's fault, by the way. It's the fault of the airline and the Wi-Fi that still needs some major improvements. So if you're going to be using the Wi-Fi on the plane, make sure you're updated with the latest antivirus software, because hackers on the plane can scan your computer, steal your passwords, and your safest in-flight activity is old school. Order a drink and read a magazine. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls as well as a great tip about Airbnb hosts and how you can catch those creepy cameras here on the Kim Komando Show. Anthony, glad to have you on board with us.
My question is regarding the AirTag. Do you need a special app on your iPhone to access this?
Well, what do you want to put a tag on?
You were mentioning like you could put it in your car, a suitcase,
Sure,
whatever.
100%.
Yeah,
yeah. I even have one on my golden retriever.
yeah. To me, a lot of times I say, well, I'm going to leave my car and I'm going to go to Walmart or whatever, and I'm going to remember where it is, and I don't. And I said, with an AirTag, it would probably be a good idea to find out, where's my car?
Exactly. Well, here's the deal. You have what you need on your iPhone to track AirTags. Your device on your iPhone needs to be running iOS 14.5 or later.
Okay.
You can also do it on your iPad and on your Mac. And then what you do is you turn on Bluetooth and location services. And you're going to have the app already built in under Find My. So instead of just having Find My Friends, you'll have Find My Devices, Find My Items. And then, of course, you're going to put this under your items. And so when you go into Walmart and you don't know where your car is, and then you can just come out and say, find my car. And then we'll say, Anthony, beep, 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 walk this way. And then it's actually really cool because it will say, you're 15 feet away, you're 10 feet away. And then it gives you an arrow which way to go. And then suddenly you're going to be like,
is there a maximum distance that they can, figure out where you're at?
No.
Okay.
Not at all. Because what it does is it uses other devices in order to figure out where that tag is. And so, for example, I have some cars in storage, and I put AirTags in the glove box. And so even though those cars are in storage in Scottsdale, Arizona, I can see exactly where that car is. I also have one in my son's car. Like I mentioned, I have them, on my bike. I have them pretty much on everything that my husband owns because that makes my life easy too. And those AirTags, by the way, if you're going to be buying them, I always find the cheapest place to get them is at Costco or Sam's Club instead of buying them over on Amazon.com. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this. Just one thing. Is that when you go to the Google Play Store, you see Tracker Detect. And that's the app put out by Apple. I linked to it this past week in our free newsletter, which if you're not getting our free newsletter, sign up right now over at getkim.com. You're enjoying 500,000 folks who get tech smart every single day. And I mentioned this app in the newsletter. Then people were writing like, oh, Kim Komando, why did you refer everybody to that app? It only has a 2.2 rating. Well, the reason why, dear one, is that this is the official AirTag app from Apple. Okay, that's the one. It has a crappy rating inside the Google Play Store because it doesn't do it automatically as fast as it really wants. Okay, and that's one of the reasons why if you have an AirTag, you think that somebody's stalking you, is that you really need to have an iOS device. So I just want to pass that along. That yes, I am fully aware that the Apple app has a 2.2 rating, and yeah. Because it sucks. It doesn't work as good as it should. All right, stay right where you are. Some tips about finding creepy cameras in those Airbnbs and Verbos here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, so you're on Airbnb and Verbo. And you're like, oh, this is great. I love it. I wonder if there are any hidden cameras here. So what do? Turn off all the room's lights and scan for small green or red LEDs. Night vision cameras will blink and shine in low light. And also check for one-way mirrors with hidden cams. You want to shine your phone's flashlight through them if you can. If one side of the mirror is brightly lit, you have a problem. Next, check the devices connected to the rental's wireless network for anything strange. And if all this is freaking you out, pick up a hidden camera detector on Amazon. They're about $50. You also want to scan the highest channels on the cable, too. Sometimes you can find cameras there. Oof, I know. Hey, listen, don't forget to sign up for our free newsletter. You're just going to love it at getkim.com.
Thanks for listening to The Kim Komando Show. Here's hour 2.
Okay, here's a number that you're going to want to pass along to your family members and friends, because when you do this, they're going to sit back and they'll go, whoa, I had no idea you were so smart. 58.7 microseconds per day. 58.7 microseconds per day. And you're like, oh, what is that, Kim? What is that? That's how much faster time moves on the moon. Who knew? Okay, so the White House are proposing a brand new time zone for the moon. It's called the Lunar Time Coordinated System, LTC for short. They say it's going to make space missions more accurate. 2026 Artemis 3 mission is going to be the first to use it. It'll be NASA's first manned lunar trip since the 1970s. It's about time. And speaking of the moon landing, it was obviously fake. I mean, the moon landing was obviously fake. Like, the moon is still up there. It didn't land anywhere. Ho. You're like, oh, that was bad, Kim. I agree. I could have done better, but it's what we got right now. Because after all, I'm Kim Komando, your beloved digital goddess here with you. It's the biggest show, the best show, the most trusted source for all things digital. And you're about ready to get more tech smarts because every single thing is now a tech thing. And if you're tuning in for just the first time, where you been? Welcome aboard. And for our regular listeners, darling, you look amazing. And you can find the Kim Komando Show on over 420 top stations from coast to coast. You can also find us as a podcast, commercial-free on Apple Podcasts, as well as Spotify, or just go ahead and join the Komando community. Just hit komando.com and hit that button that says community. And a special shout-out goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force in 175 different countries. I just love that. Alrighty, I'd actually love to do this every single day. I just visit just a slew of websites. I counted them up. It was like 38, sometimes 35, sometimes even over 40 if I don't see like exactly what I'm looking for, to bring us both the top 5 things that you need to know what's happening in the tech world right now. And let's start with, when I say the word doctor, what are you thinking? Maybe someone to take care of your kids, someone to prescribe an antibiotic, somebody to give you a new hip. Okay. Now, what if I were to say, doctor programs your brain? What? Yes, it's called BCIs. We shorten everything inside the computer industry, brain-computer interfaces. These are the devices that directly connect to your brain, and then they turn your brain's signals into commands that computers can understand. And so imagine that you were in an accident, paralyzed from the neck down. This is kind of what Elon Musk's Neuralink does. It will give you the ability to control a computer, maybe a prosthetic limb, just by thinking about it. And now they are wireless. But what we are looking at now is a new type of doctor. The role of the doctor is that surgeons to install these BCIs. So share this with your doctor. Say, are you going to be getting into this? Or maybe you have an emerging doctor, a new doctor, somebody in your family that wants to be a doctor. Wow, wouldn't that be something to be a BCI surgeon? Oof. You know what? I would love to do that. All right, moving on to number 2, the truth about incognito mode. Yeah, it lets you browse without saving your history, your cookies, or your session data on your device. But your ISP, the website you visit, Google, and even your employer can track exactly what you're doing. Now, the reason why I bring all this up is the other day, a U.S. judge allowed a $5 billion class action lawsuit. Oh my gosh, could you imagine? $5 billion class action lawsuit against Google to go to trial. The lawsuit said that Google still tracked, collected, and identified browsing data in real time, even when you open in incognito mode. So it wasn't exactly private. And then Google said, well, we can't really find all that data. We can't delete all that data. We don't know where it is. Guess what? They found the data and they're deleting it. And so just keep in mind that incognito does not really mean incognito. Moving on to number 3, how about a quick AI roundup? First up, you can now use ChatGPT without logging in. That means that it's not going to necessarily be tracking everything that you do with ChatGPT and all your prompts directly with your username, but they can still track you by your IP address. So keep that in mind. Number 2, Google Gemini has been updated with some AI. With your voice, you can automatically open up Google Maps and then say exactly where you want to go. And let's see, number 3 next is if you pay for ChatGPT, is that now you can use DALL-E in order to edit your images. That's a lot of fun. I used one the other day to create a little image that I used in the newsletter. It was a walk in a park. But like I said, so, this was really difficult, but it was a walk in the park, I know. You have to see the image, just get the newsletter. Oh, finally, this is actually a fun one. Google has a new AI thing called Food Mood. So what you do is you say, I want to combine 2 nations to come up with one dish. And so I fired up Ireland and Fiji. What kind of food can come from Ireland and Fiji? It was a tender lamb and with a vibrant coconut curry sauce. I'm not sure that sounds good. Number 4, are you texting like an old person? Okay. Gen Zers say that if you capitalize letters when you're texting, you're old. Also, they only text in lowercase. And they don't really put a lot of punctuation. So if you do any of that, you're old. So if you're doing any of this, you probably also know how to use a fax machine, a VHS tape, and maybe a pager too. And finally, this coming in at number 5. Speaking of old, oh my gosh, have you ever heard of mewing? Mewing. And now if you are a teenage guy, you know what that is. And if you're not a teenage guy, it's some videos that have been seen like over 15 billion times. It changes the way that your jaw looks. It kind of, for a guy, it gives a square chisel look, which is supposedly what a lot of women always want in their guys. So you press your whole tongue against the roof of your mouth, keep your lips together, breathe through your nose, and maintain a straight posture. They also have like metal things that they sell that you can put in your mouth and all do this. But in case you're wondering who's behind this trend, I thought this was fascinating. 95-year-old orthodontist by the name of John Mew. That's right, John Mew. So the next time you have a teenage guy and they're like trying to get their little jaw chiseled, you can say, you know what? That was because of John Mew. All right, we have so many callers today. That's just, the lines are just overflowing. We're going to get through most of them. Also, some great tips about how to ace your job search with some hidden tricks, signs that your TV is spying on you, and of course, me, Kim Komando. You don't want to miss that. Hey, I'm giving away a $500 gift card, and I want you to win it. So how do you win it? You go to winfromkim.com. Once again, winfromkim.com. I'm giving away a $500 Amazon.com gift card. And what's the catch? You have to get one issue of my newsletter. That's it. Just one issue. And you can unsubscribe on that issue if you want, but you're not going to want to do that because you're going to love it. Once again, head to winfromkim.com, winfromkim.com. All right, Tamara in Brookings, Oregon, you're up first.
I am an illustrator and small business owner in Brookings, Oregon, which is right near the California border. I've had a brick and mortar store for 4 years, and I've been selling online since 2010.
Wow, good for you.
And thank you. I've had my products scraped to other sites many times before, but my problem that I wanted to share with you today is a bit bigger. They actually registered a domain name. My business site is pithitude.com, and they registered the site pithitude.shop, and then they scraped my site of all my products and packed it into that site.
Okay.
And it's completely fraudulent. They don't have any access to my product line. The only links that work are for taking people's credit card information. So besides being very concerned about my reputation, I'm worried about people who think that they're shopping from me and are going to have their money taken.
Yeah, they're getting scammed, and there's no way they're ever going to come back to you, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're starting to get Google alerts on your business name that people say, don't go there. Don't go. I got ripped off. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a big problem. It's a huge problem. I have to preface this, Tamara, by saying I'm not a lawyer, can't give you legal advice, all that other good stuff. Okay. just to keep the FCC happy. Do you have any registered trademarks, copyrights?
Yes, both.
Excellent. You're so smart. On your .com website, I want you to make sure that you have at the very bottom the name of the trademark and your number of your trademark. If you go to commando.com and you go all the way to the bottom, you're going to see things like Kim Commando's registered trademark, 2 million, blah, 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 blah. Digital Goddess, registered trademark, blah, blah, blah. Okay, all this other stuff.
Okay.
The reason why that's there is precisely why you need it.
Okay.
Because when you have a registered trademark, is that all of a sudden you get to go to the top of the food chain. Okay. What I mean by that is that there's it's called the Internet Corporation of Assigned Names and Numbers, ICANN, ICANN. They are, if you will, considered like the chief of all domains. Okay. They settle domain disputes. You have a dispute with a domain, so you have to go to the Internet Corporation of Assigned Name and Numbers, and you fill out a form, and you say, they are violating my copyright and my trademark, and here are my numbers. Because that's how you settle a dispute. The FBI can't help you. Google can't help you. You have to go to the source, and that's ICANN. And that's why it's important for anybody. If you have whatever size business you are, no matter what you're doing, if you have trademarks and copyrights, make sure that you put that at the bottom of your main homepage. Every single page, as a matter of fact. Put it in your terms and conditions of service, whatever you might want to have, your privacy policies. So that this way you are covered in the event of if something were to like this to happen in the future. So I guess the other question is, what can you do to prevent scraping of a website? It's been going on forever. What you want to do is slow down page views from any bots, because the bots are the ones that are doing the scraping. And there are some steps on how to do this on whatever your hosting provider that you have. So you might want to go ahead and look that up from your provider. Again, you just want to slow down the page views from bots, because those are the ones that are doing any scrapes. Now, if you have an intellectual property right attorney, somebody who you know, somebody you can contact, they can walk you through all this. And sometimes it helps if an attorney sends a letter as well to the ICANN organization. But that's where you want to go. And if you need any help after this, just go ahead and give me a call back. That's why I'm here. Boy, this looks like an interesting question. Dan in New Orleans, Louisiana. Hey there, Dan.
I've been a long-time listener. I discovered you when I was in Austin, Texas, and could get you on the radio, and I would listen to you every Sunday almost religiously. And since we've moved to Covington, there's not a radio station close by, so I have to track you down when I have the time.
Well, here's what you can do, Dan. Here's what you can do, is that you can get the Kim Commando Show as a podcast, and then you can take me with you. It's available on Apple, Spotify, and then also at commando.com inside the Commando community.
Okay. Now that I've retired, I've got time to track some of that stuff down that I didn't have when I was working full time.
Awesome.
Thank you for the recommendation.
So what's going on?
Here's my question. People do stuff on a computer. They sit down to their computer to pay their bills, and they do all of these interactions with their banking website and their investment website and any other sites like that they deal with. They move files to and from the cloud for whatever reason. They use whatever desktop apps they're working with. And they do the same thing over and over and over again for each of the accounts they've got to deal with. Maybe a little different, but who knows? That's not really important. But I don't find any way to automate any of this stuff. If I'm going to do the same 25 mouse clicks and download the same files and store them in the same folder on the cloud, why aren't there any apps out there, or are there any apps out there that allow me to sort of glue things together,
sure,
as opposed to having stuff built into an app that, quote, does it all for me? Well, they never do it all.
They try. They do try. Are you on Windows or Mac?
All of the above.
Okay. All right. Unfortunately, there's not going to be like one solution you can use on both, but on Windows, there's a program called AutoHotkey. That's AutoHotkey, available at autohotkey.com. And it does exactly what you're talking about. It allows you to set up various routines that you might want to automate. And if you really wanted to get kind of techie on it, it actually will do some command-based programming as well. If you're on a Mac, you're looking for a keyboard maestro. The AutoHotkey for Windows, that's free. And then the keyboard maestro does pretty much the same thing. Allows you to launch applications, range windows, quit at a certain time, things like that. Is $36. So the tools are there. Now you just have to get all the work done, but once you get it done though, it's it's pretty easy, because then you just hit a couple of keystrokes and then you're good to go. And again, it's AutoHotkey and keyboard maestro. And I'll tell you what, Dan, I'm going to put you on hold. All right. And then when Amber picks you up, she's going to send you out some links to both of these programs. And thanks for your call today. And, try that podcast. You're retired. You got time now. And again, it's the Kim Komando Show podcast. We have a couple of podcasts. There's Kim Komando Today, which is our daily fun podcast about all things digital that you can watch us do live 11:30 a.m. Monday through Friday. That's Pacific time, by the way. And then the Kim Komando Show is the big 3-hour weekend show that you can get that commercial free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or again, inside the Komando community. And Dan, thanks for your call. Now, if you're just too shy to give me a call, I still want to get your questions. Here's what you need to do. Head over to komando.com. That's Komando, komando.com. And then there's a link that says Email Kim. Just click that button, fill out that form, give me your question. I read every single note that you guys and gals send me. Stay right where you are. We got more coming up. All right, coming up in just a few minutes, how to ace that job search with some hidden secrets and tricks and signs that your TV may be just spying on you. And let's talk about spyware. Spyware is a program that means even though you don't have an icon for it on your desktop, it's still running in the background on your PC or Mac. Now, how do you see if it's actually there? On your PC, open the Task Manager. On a Mac, you're going to open Activity Monitor. Then there, you're going to see all the apps and background processes that are running on your computer. Look through the list. Now, if you see a name that you don't recognize, just search for it online to see what turns up. But let's say that you do see spyware on that list. You need to remove it, and that may mean, I know it's a lot of work, backing up your system, reformatting the drive, reinstalling everything. Definitely no fun at all. All right. Melissa in Lansing, Michigan. Glad to have you with us.
My question is, I recently retired and I've been searching for an apartment community in the south part of the United States.
Okay.
And I found a complex that where all the homes are smart and the tenant is required to use the complex's internet provider.
Okay.
Is this safe?
Well, a lot of it depends upon how they define smart. Okay. And what type of access that they have. I mean, so you could have smart locks, smart lights, smart video doorbells, smart appliances, everything that's smart, quote unquote, Melissa, is just connected to the internet. And it's there to provide a service to you so that you don't have to get up and answer the door if you don't want to because so-and-so is at the door. If you want to have somebody in your house when you're not there to fix something, you can give them a special code. Smart appliances will show you everything that's inside the refrigerator so you don't have to open it up. And then it also give you recipes based upon what's on the inside and even order groceries because you took something out. Okay. So and then they also provide internet access as a perk, right? So you don't have to spend $50 to $80 a month or more to get online.
Well, yeah, you do. You have to pay for that too.
Okay. Well, then, but they're providing it as part of your services. Okay. And so in this way you have it for the individual units. You need to protect yourself. They are not going to protect you. What I mean by that is that anytime you're on a public Wi-Fi system, which is what you'll be on, is that your data is out there free for the taking unless you know how to lock it down. And so what I would recommend is that you use a VPN anytime you go online. because the VPN will scramble things up so that if somebody has a sniffing program where they're going to get everybody's username and password on that network, is that because you're using a VPN, they won't be able to do that.
Okay. Okay, that's good.
So, and use a good password management program. So this way you're not entering all your passwords, just using one master password, and you're going to use that on a VPN. So that's going to be double protection. Make sure that all your gadgets are always updated with the latest software and hardware updates. And, and you're just going to be smart about it, right? Because if it is smart, we want to be a little bit smarter than the technology that's there. It's purporting to make our lives easier and better. So again, the most important thing is that you make sure that you do have a VPN, keep everything updated, good things like that. If there's any way that they can put you on your own network, I'm not sure if that's possible. That would be also preferred, where you could have your own router, your own modem, and maybe you might want to ask them if that's a possibility. Probably isn't, but it's just some questions that you might want to ask. But again, really glad that you called in now, because you're smart like that, because you are going to a smart house, because everybody's smart. Smart. I know. Too many things are smart to make us feel like we're not so smart. I know. What a crazy world we live in. All right, let's switch gears just a little bit with our callers. Tom in Columbia, Missouri. This looks like an interesting scenario.
Well, first of all, I got to check off my bucket list. I spoke to Kim Commando.
Yes.
Okay, that one's done. Let's go to the next part. I've been a videographer, cinematographer, editor for years, 30 years, over 30 years, back when, we started with the video toaster, if you remember that, in the early 90s.
Right.
And, but I'm in my 70s now, and I don't do as much stuff, but I have some clients, and I like to help some nonprofits around the area. But one of the things we have around here is a beautiful performance dance place that's all these little kids are trained from dancing anywhere from 5 years old till 20 years old or so. And they do a couple of shows a year. I have done this show for them before, and I do it on a set fee.
Okay.
But they wanted to try not to do it on a set fee. And this is the kind of stuff I used to do 25 years ago when I was really poor and tried to sell the copies myself. And this year I've agreed to do this. Now, in the past, we've sold DVDs, but the DVD quality, of course, of a regular DVD is terrible, and really not enough people got Blu-ray players.
Yeah, we don't have DVD players anymore. Everybody's online.
Well, that's the truth. So anyway, two ways I can provide the performance to a person who has paid me. And one is by downloading it, and the other is on a USB flash. But I don't think that there's a big problem with Mama and Grandma both sharing a copy of the performance, which will be about an hour and 45 minutes or so.
Okay.
But what if I'm getting into this and I'm sending out a digital file or a flash drive, and Bill passes it to Mary, and Mary passes it to Jane, and it's passed around, and so it's limited the amount of cells I get. But I'm going, how can you limit the amount of copying of a downloaded file to somebody or a flash drive to somebody?
How much are we talking per video?
$100. $100 for there's actually 3 shows. There's one on Friday and 2 on Saturday. And most people want all 3 shows.
All right. So it's $100. It's $100 for all 3?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You can put this video up online. And there's a service called Vimeo, Vimeo. And Vimeo has a monthly subscription fee. And they have different rates and packages, and one of them allows you to prevent the download of the video. And so you could share that link, and you can also charge a fee for a video that way. And then Vimeo takes a piece of the action, but you don't have to do anything. Just kind of throw it up there. Now, you can also think about putting watermarking on there, so that if in fact it does get shared. You know exactly who shared it, and then you can go back to them and say, "Hey, you're violating my copyright." Okay, and these are invisible or visible marks in the video. You can certainly put it on a flash drive, and normally that charges like maybe $5 a unit, $10 a unit. But I'm wondering if there's something else that you could be doing. Meaning, like, you can do all this, right? But if somebody shares it 2 or 3 times, most people only have 6 close people. That's the number.
Yeah.
And so, at worst, you're out $500.
Yeah.
At best, you don't have to deal with any of what I just talked about. The administration, the coordination, getting it all done. And at the end, you put a little commercial for yourself. Need a video of your special occasion, reunions.
Got it. Not interested in doing that.
All right, so you don't want any more business.
No.
Okay. Then it's up to you.
I married a doctor. I don't want any more business.
All right, so you married up, and that's good. I appreciate that. Okay, so what I would do is you could look at Vimeo and also Uscreen. That's Vimeo, and also Uscreen. You and then Screen. It allows you to have one-time purchases of your videos. It has secure hosting, payment processing. It's about $50 a month. The flash drive situation, I mean, you can certainly do that. And there are certainly tools that would make that happen. I'm just afraid it's just going to become a total hassle for you. Unless you were making $1,000 a video, and then we're looking like, something like that. But you want to take a look at Nextcopy. That's Nexcopy, Nextcopy, Vimeo, and then Uscreen. The Nextcopy is what's going to secure that flash drive for you. But I think it's going to be easiest if you use something like Vimeo or Uscreen. Need any help afterwards, Tom? I'm your gal. All right. Getting a job today is a little bit different than it was even just 3 years ago. Why? Because we have something called ATS, okay, the Applicant Tracking System. So your resume is seen first by a computer, not by a person. It makes the first round of decisions. They rank, search for keywords, and auto-reject resumes not fitting the bill. So how do you beat the bots? Couple of tips. Match the keywords. Scan the job description and see those specific skills and requirements listed. Make sure that they are directly reflected in your resume. Keep it simple, too. No fancy fonts or creative layouts. That totally confuses the ATS, okay? No tables, no images. Just keep it straightforward and text only. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls as well as signs that your TV is actually spying on you here on the Kim Komando Show. Doris in Reno, Nevada.
Well, a few years ago, we heard you speaking about having a Chromebook to manage our finances. Mm-hmm. So we bought that, and then we do all of our finances solely on the Chromebook. And I also have a designated email just for that. My question is, and you'll think it's probably the simplest question of the day, but when I'm traveling and want to check the emails, I don't have that email on my phone or my tablet. I just look at it on the Chromebook. Is it safe to add that email address to my Google account on my phone or tablet?
See, the whole idea behind having a separate Chromebook, Doris, is that if you get hit by some type of scam, whatever it may be, mm-hmm. is that it's not going to hit your financial accounts. So that's why the whole idea is this Chromebook, we're only going to use that for only for financial stuff.
Okay, go ahead.
So now you're saying that you have an email address associated with that Chromebook, so you want to check that email on your Android. That mm-hmm. would be okay. I just want you to be super safe. Okay.
So do I.
And that, if you get something that looks legit and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the bank, I need to hit this link, don't do it. Right. Mm-hmm. Because there are just so many scams. Oh my gosh. It seems like every time I turn around, there's a new scam. I mean, it's like there's, yes. I mean, and they're getting more creative. Like there's one gal lost $500,000. Because she thought that the IRS was calling her with her Social Security problem with a problem with her Social Security number, and that somehow she was going to go to prison, so she had to give them $500,000 in gold. I'm like,
oh my God!
I'm like, what what just happened? And how did you even think that the IRS would call you with your Social Security number problem, that they are going to put you in prison and you got to get some gold, and they're going to come over and pick up the gold? Okay, but
I'm not that naive.
I hope not. Oh my gosh, But there's also that New York Times financial journalist. She got suckered in for about $250,000, and she writes. She's a financial planner. It's like, okay. So, it's just always have your wits about you. I mean,
I you know what? I think I'm just going to play it safe and not do it. Most of our accounts will text us if something's going on, and I don't know. Maybe that's
and also be careful of the texting too, because you know what? They figured out that as well. Makes you just want to say, like, I'm just going to shut it all off. I'm going to shut it all off. Nobody's getting my money. Nobody but me. And I'm going on a round the world trip, first class, for the rest of my life, or live on a cruise ship. Okay, whatever it may be. Doris, thanks for getting through today. All right, let me just switch gears just a little bit. Every single day we send out a newsletter to 500,000 people. Wow. That's a lot of folks, isn't it? Now, if you're not on the list, I don't know what the heck you're waiting for. It's absolutely free. We have top stories, the latest tech news, device advice, tech upgrades. And let me tell you, it is fun to read, totally fun to read. Oh, and there's a meme at the end and some jokes thrown out. And, here's the deal. I was looking at some of the comments this morning, and, Bob in Chicago actually wrote me, he said, Kim, you know what? It is fun to read. I've never actually got a tech newsletter that was fun to read. Okay. So if you're not getting our newsletter, here's the deal. You can sign up at winfromkim.com. You're going to get the newsletter, and as a bonus, you're going to be automatically entered to win a $500 Amazon gift card. Whoa, what a deal. What are you waiting for? Go to winfromkim.com. Once again, winfromkim.com. All right, stay right where you are. Do not move. Well, if you're listening to the podcast and you're walking, you can keep moving. But coming right back, I have the signs that your TV may be spying on you here on the Kim Komando Show. I always think this is super interesting. The TV manufacturer Vizio, they actually make more money selling data from people who buy the TVs than actually when they make money selling the TVs. Okay, wow. So how do you know if your TV is collecting data on you? If you see some unusual network activity, your TV is using a lot of data or sending data to some strange IP addresses. Now, some TVs will monitor your viewing habits and send that to the advertisers, data brokers, and manufacturers. Now, to opt out, you have to get inside your TV's privacy settings and also voice controls, because they could be collecting the audio data as well. Now, for the exact steps on how to turn off your TV's tracking, what I want you to do is hit commando.com and just say, my TV's spying on you, right in the search box, which 24/7, don't forget, I'm always there for you at commando.com.
Thank you for listening to the Kim Komando Show. Here's hour 3.
Hey, for anyone who's ever wanted to vanish into thin air, this just might be your chance, okay? You can now buy an invisibility cloak. Yes, I said an invisibility cloak. About $800. Company who makes it is by the name of Mega Shield, of course. They say they can hide up to 6 people, and it uses precision engineered lens array to literally bend light. Works with grass, foliage, sand, and sky. And if you look at some of the videos online about it, it's like they put up this, I guess, panel in front of people, and then they truly do disappear. I know that every Harry Potter fan would want one of these right now. But speaking of being invisible, here's a joke that you can tell the kids. How did the doctor cure the invisible man? How did the doctor cure the invisible man? Ready? He took him to the ICU. Oh, yes. You are about ready to get more tech smarts, because every single thing is a tech thing. I'm Kim Komando. Yes, I know. Bad jokes and all. Your beloved digital goddess. And because every single thing is now a tech thing. It's the biggest show. It's the best show. It's the award-winning show on over 420 top stations from coast to coast. You can also get the show as a commercial-free podcast on Apple, Spotify, and as a perk of your membership inside the Commando community. And a big hello goes out to all of our listeners in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force who are joining us on the American Forces Network Radio. All right, you can count on me to visit at least 35 to 40 different websites for you every single day to make sure that we know exactly what's happening in the tech world. And here are the top 5 things you need to know today that's happening in the tech verse. We're going to start with something that's happening in the world that you may not be paying attention to. Okay, we all know about artificial intelligence. It's changing everything. And one of the things that it is changing is a website and your ability to make money with that website by advertising dollars. Website traffic is down 20%. I saw a stat that says it's going to be down over 65% over the next year. So what does that mean to you as a website owner and operator? It means that if you don't innovate, you're going to evaporate. But what does that mean to Google? Because Google makes its money on what? People going to search at google.com or using that search site. Because they flood you with ads. Well, what's going to happen? Well, Google has a bright idea because, if the traffic's going down, guess what's happening to Google revenues? Revenues are going down too. So their big plan, some marketing genius came up with this. Why don't we start charging for Google search results? Let's start charging people for that. Why are we giving this away for free? The Financial Times was fed some scoop from insiders that says this is ultimately the plan. Wow, it's going to be a first for Google. And this is a choice that is really maybe going to kill Google. For so many years, we thought, who could ever get rid of Google? Yeah. So let me ask you a question. If they start charging, will you stop using it? Will you? All right, moving on to number 2. Speaking of money, wow. If you have a Chase Bank credit card, you need to pay attention. The Wall Street Journal reports that they're opening up a new unit called Chase Media Solutions. Doesn't that sound happy? Chase Media Solutions. It's going to let marketers and advertisers buy ads to directly target you based on what you have done with your bank account, things that you have purchased, where you have purchased them. And can you opt out? Yeah, but it's going to be a little bit tricky. But what sets Chase's system apart from traditional other networks like Google search ads is that advertisers are only charged if you make a purchase, which means that the advertisers are going to be lining up to get a hold of your Chase Bank credit card data. Moving on to number 3, fast food. Have you been to a Taco Bell or McDonald's lately? I haven't, but I have read this story that says that now there's a kiosk. And so you just don't have to talk to a cashier. You just go into the kiosk and you say, okay, this is what I want. And you just point and click. Now, Shake Shack CEO says that these digital kiosks will make us order up to 10% more on average. Wow, isn't that interesting? They start adding more food, customizations, add-ons, supersizing that meal. They can also now tailor the menu on the screen on what the season is or what the day is like. So if it's raining, why not get a hot chocolate? If it's summer, let's get some ice cream. Talk about a shakedown. This is really exciting, our 4th story. 1 in 6, that's how many people have depression here in the United States. If you have it, you're not alone. But I found this new app to be really fascinating. And if you are depressed or you know somebody who is, listen to this. There's an app called Rejoin, REJOYN. It's the first FDA-approved app of its kind. It gives patients a 6-week treatment program that trains them to have more control over their emotions. It targets the neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to form new connections and pathways. So if you are dealing with depression, they say the issue isn't just chemical imbalances, but how certain parts of your brain communicate or don't. So, and since it's FDA approved, guess what? Insurance should actually pay for the app. And finally, this coming at number 5. Oh my gosh, people, you need to be smarter than this, okay? Don't buy anything related to your health on Facebook. A woman in California went on Facebook and for some reason bought a hemorrhoid ointment. Okay. She died. It poisoned her. Tests found that the stuff mailed from Vietnam contained a lethal 4% lead. So other things you should not buy on Facebook. Makeup and skincare. Okay. How about infant seats, cribs, toys, helmets? USA Today a few years ago found at least 170 listings of products that killed kids that had been recalled but still listed for sale on Facebook, especially in Marketplace. Mattresses. I would never buy a used mattress. Okay, 2 words. You ready? Bed bugs. Bed bugs. Gross. Gross. Did you hear about the bed bugs getting married? Did you hear about the bed bugs that are getting married? You ready? This is a great one. Sometimes I just crack myself up. The wedding was held in the spring. All right. Coming up, we have what to do if your credit card number is for sale on the dark web, and also what to do with a stolen laptop. And Ali Sullivan's going to be joining us. She's our amazing content queen. We're talking about how you can really use AI, the best prompts for your business to get your work done. And of course, you have me and maybe even some more bad jokes that you don't want to miss. Okay, I want to give you a $500 Amazon.com gift card. I do. I want to call you up and say, hey, guess what? You won $500. And you'll be like, how did I do that, Kim Commando? And why are you calling me? Well, because you were smart and you entered to win a $500 Amazon gift card at winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com, winfromkim.com. And, here's the deal. There is a catch, and I will tell you what the catch is. You have to get one issue of my free newsletter. That's it. Just one newsletter. It's totally free, and you're going to love it. If you don't, you can unsubscribe. But once again, winfromkim.com. Do it right now while you're thinking about it. If you're listening to the podcast, just stop the pod, go to winfromkim.com, and enter to win $500, a $500 gift card right now at winfromkim.com. All right, how about we start with Kenan in Salt Lake City, Utah. Glad to have you with us.
Hey, I'm a big fan of your show. Seems like I've been listening for like 100 years. And
don't say that, because then you make me feel like I'm 100 years old. Okay, so here, let's try this again. Just say, Kim, I've been listening to you for just a few years, and you just, I feel like I've gained hundreds of years of knowledge. How about that?
Yeah, I really do. You've been on point many times when I've been climbing the walls trying to figure out a problem. And I've got a problem for you today. So I run a outreach program, a HUD outreach program for the nonprofit affordable housing employer that I work for. We're a nonprofit. We just launched a healthcare, like a preventative health demonstration for 800 of our residents in the affordable housing. And we are expanding our medical program to 4 additional projects that do not have on-site folks to meet face-to-face with. And I've developed a virtual services model, doing all kinds of stuff outside my skill set, outside my comfort zone. But we're trying to get devices in the hands of our folks. And the Lifeline devices are just garbage.
Are they? When you were talking, I was thinking about that. I wonder if you could qualify or even looked into the Lifeline. Now, why do you say they're garbage?
Well, they don't come with like full versions of Android. Typically, they got Android Basic or Android Express or whatever the iteration is at the time, and they typically don't have very many resources. The refresh rate is really low. So you just end up playing games with it, because that's all you can do. You can't use it for communication, and we have all these different services that we want to be able to deliver, and we need our residents to have quality devices. And I'm into like TechSoup and Back Market, some of these refurb providers, but they none of them can deliver me like consistent devices. I got to buy like 30 at a time, and then the next time I go buy more, it's a different model. And I want things to be as simple as possible because I'm training my team to support the device. And that if people have a million different kinds of devices, there's no way that we're going to be able to.
And that's the problem with Androids, though. You know that. That one manufacturer does it this way, another one does it this way, and then you look at different model numbers from one manufacturer, and anytime that in the newsletters or on the website or whatever, in my Daily Mail articles or USA Today, I can just tell you this, that anytime I put instructions, I'm always going to hear from somebody who says, that doesn't work on my phone, Kim Commando. Right. I'm like, well, that's, right. Okay. If I'm going to say every version of Android, we're going to have to like take 10 pages, so.
Right.
So that's the problem. So how many do you need to buy?
Well, I need to get, so we just added like 350 clients to that virtual situation, and we would like to be able to give everybody a phone. And so I need to get at least 350 to 400 devices to be able to distribute. And we're not just giving them away. I mean, the residents they have to sign on the dotted line. They're willing to participate in our community improvement efforts. And we've got a survey routine set up so that we can gather data. At the end of the day, I work for a housing organization, and we want to study housing stability. And that's my goal. We want people to stay with us as long as they possibly can. And we're making inroads. I mean, we're finding out a lot. Just over the last 2 years, we've been going, and we'll be funding eligible next year. And then we don't have to have these difficult conversations about finding used devices because we'll just buy new.
I'm thinking that I wonder if you were to contact somebody like Samsung, because they have a really large pre-owned department and a pre-owned program. But what I like about the Samsung phones, they come with a 1-year warranty, even though they're used, which is sweet. But I think in order to get the quantity that you need in a similar or like model, if you go to, like you said, TechSoup or Swappa or Gazelle or anything like that, that you're going to be looking at, I can give you just what you said, 30 phones, 50 phones, 10 phones, 5 phones, whatever it may be. Versus if you go to a manufacturer where they're just taking these things in droves, right? Okay. That would be probably the best place. Take a look at a Motorola, an LG, maybe. Okay. I don't think Sony's always been. I don't think Sony's gonna. I don't know. I wouldn't bother with them. I think Samsung would be my first stop. And what I might suggest is that if you want, we give you a copy of this phone call, and you. Write a letter to the PR department, the media relations department, and tell them that, you're on a show. Kim's on 450 stations, and she's a USA Today columnist and Daily Mail. You called me for help, and I recommended personally that you go to Samsung and their certified pre-owned department to see if this could help. And typically, if when you go to a Samsung or like web page, is that you're going to have to drill around to find the media because they don't want just anybody. But that's where I would go, because what I'd like to do is to do a follow-up call with you to say that, yes, we contacted Samsung and they were able to do this for this great organization and to get these quality phones in their premises and in their hands so that they could participate in this fabulous virtual program that you put together. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know how hard it is to find the charitable giving section of most websites.
Well, I'm not. You know what?
Bury it.
Well, the charitable is one thing. I don't know if they're going to be able to give this to you for free.
Yeah. Okay. And we have resources to pay. Obviously not for new devices,
right?
But
and so that's where we're gonna head. And so Kenan, I'm gonna put you on hold, and then somehow we'll figure out how to get you a copy of this phone call, so that this way you could tell the corporate PR folks at Samsung that you have it. Now, if you strike out, let me know, because maybe I can go through my email and maybe I can find somebody at Samsung to talk to, and maybe that may be another avenue. But I wanted you to know that I'm here with you. I got your back, and together we can get this done. And thank you for your call. All right, let's talk about cleaning. I know it's springtime. There are apps to help you out. One is called Toady. It will divide your house into different zones and list out the tasks for each. The next one's called Our Home. It turns all your chores into a family affair. You get shared task lists, a point system, and rewards. And finally, this one's really great for kids if you have gamers too. It's called Habitica. You get a character that completes real-life tasks, ace your chores, level up, slack off. Your character takes a hit. Again, the 3 apps: Toady, Our Home, Habitica. All right, if you're wondering about the best prompts to use to get AI stuff done, You don't want to miss this. Stay right where you are with the Kim Komando Show. All right, coming up in just a few minutes, your credit card is on the dark web. What should you do next? What should you do next? And before we get to all of that, we're going to talk about artificial intelligence, because you have to be smart when you use artificial intelligence. Like, for example, you don't want to give AI personal information, like, your name, your date of birth, your credit card number, social security number. You also don't want to start talking about like relationship issues, mental health struggles, because that's all going to be tied to your profile, right? And you also don't want to give out trade secrets, confidential information, proprietary stuff, and also anything that you've written personally. I mean, you don't want to upload your book to AI and go, hey, what do you think? Can you make it better? You're better off at a real editor, because AI could actually use that as an answer for something else. Now, when we start talking about how do you get the most out of AI, well, joining us right now is our very amazing content queen, Ali Seligman. Hello there, Ali.
Hi, Kim.
I didn't tell you this before we talk about AI, is that I was looking at Ian coming in to see where he was located from LA the other day.
Yeah.
And I tried to screenshot it because it showed Ian with his little face on Find My Friends. And he was over Seligman, Arizona.
Oh,
I thought that was so cute.
No relation. No. I've been there. That was one of our like pandemic era trips where it was like you couldn't go in anywhere. So we went and drove up to Seligman and took pictures with all the signs. It was very dorky and very fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, see, there is an island by the name of Komando.
Is there? With a K?
Yes. And it's in the Maldives.
I think you have to go for research.
I just want to sit in there and go like, mine. It's
you
mine.
Get an island in the Maldives, and no offense to the fine people of Seligman, Arizona.
That's true.
But
there is that.
They're different.
All right. So we started talking about prompts for AI. I mean, it's like garbage in, garbage out, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And I really am of the mindset that if you were one of those people that thinks, oh boy, AI is coming for my job, you are thinking about it all wrong. I mean, maybe you need a different type of job, right? But I think if you can use this stuff to make you do a better job at work, you're not going to get replaced. Your boss is going to think, oh, wow, he or she actually knows how to talk to this thing and I don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's all become a little bit of an AI genius today, right? Because we want you to be successful with this stuff. Now, I'm going to get a little bit in the weeds. Normally, we keep it really top level, but I'm going to throw out some terms that if you say these to your boss or anyone else, they're going to be like, whoa.
Yeah, you know what? And they're going to look at you and go, you are amazing.
Wow. How did you learn that? Yes. Did you do a 30-hour course? No, I listened to the Kim Komando Show. We are going to start at the top with zero-shot prompting. Okay, what the heck is that?
Yes.
It's funny because you've probably done this multiple times without realizing that that's what this is called. So this is when you just let the AI do its work, right? You ask it to do something like, analyze this for me. Summarize this. Hey, here's a really long article. Can you tell me what it means in 3 paragraphs? Look at this legal document for me. So you're not exactly telling it how to do its job. You're just letting it do something it already knows how to do. Okay. All right.
Okay. So again, that zero-shot prompting.
Yes.
Could you imagine if somebody puts that on their resume, one of their expertise, zero-shot prompting?
This is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And you know how to do it because it really is kind of a basic thing, right? One that I like for this, maybe you have a bunch of customer reviews and you need to know okay, I don't have time to go through all of these right now. We'll put them in and say, tell me what percentage of these are positive, neutral, or negative. Great. You just did an analysis on your customer base.
Gosh, that's
with one
awesome.
sentence.
I mean, think about how long that would have taken you to do.
Yes.
I mean, you'd have to sort them all out. And then you have the big math, the percentage.
Big math.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I was always bad at percentages.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Yeah. Next up is few-shot prompting. Okay, few-shot prompting. If zero-shot has no examples, few-shot has a few. So this is when you give 2 to 5, generally, examples of what you want. So maybe this is saying, I need you to write social media posts for me for my small business. Here are 3 examples of ones that I really, really like. Okay, great. So you're just giving more direction to the AI, right? This is probably the one that I do most commonly. Probably the same for you, Kim, right? You give feedback and examples with it.
Yeah, and I've noticed that the feedback that I give, depending upon my mood, I was like, you are totally off.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not paying attention. You're not,
Well, and be careful with that tough love, Kim, because we do know that if you're polite to the AI, it generally will give you better responses.
I do say thank you.
Okay, there you go. Please and thank you. Please do a better job. Thank you.
Now, do you say please and thank you to Alexa?
No. I don't, but I am polite. I don't do please and thank you words, but I'm not like, Alexa, shut up. I'm pretty polite to
there's a whole thing in the whole parenting circle that they're teaching the kids to say please and thank you.
I don't think that's a bad idea, actually, because if you grow up, you're a little kid and you're allowed to just boss stuff around.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
You're going to do that to people too.
No.
Okay. So for this one, again, 2 to 5 examples. This is when you want to get something a little more specific and you have a way that you want it to get done. And this is so you're not beating your head against the wall saying, if you do 0-shot prompting and you say, write me social media posts, it's just going to write some stuff that has nothing to do with you or your business. And then finally, we've got chain of thought prompting. Ooh.
That's a big one.
Again, I bet this is something you've done and you didn't even know what it was called. This is when you say something like, tell me why you did this. Explain the answer step by step. I really like this one when you're doing something more complex. Say I want AI to give me a business plan, right? That's a lot of work and a lot of steps involved. If I say, explain exactly how you did this, I don't just get the plan, I learn exactly why it did what it did. It's good for a few things. One, you're not just flying blind, right? You know why it did certain things. And so in case maybe your boss says, hey, why'd you include this? You don't look like a big idiot, right?
I don't know.
Because I thought it was a good idea. It also can help you spot some flaws in the logic because maybe your business plan kind of assumes that you had 20 people work for you. What if it's only 5, right? So this helps you figure out why it gave you the result it gave you. This is especially helpful if you get a dumb response that you don't like. And sometimes you'll get back, oops, sorry, I messed up. Sometimes you will get, hey, here's exactly where I got all this stuff. And that's really helpful.
Well, the tying all this up with a nice bow is, you spoke about this a while back. And I have to tell you that I've always used it since then, since you talked about it, is that you tell AI to be a marketing pro, to be a financial pro.
I love this one too.
Yeah, to be a grammar pro or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're setting up, you're kind of putting it in the right mind space, right? Like you might do with a person, except a person who knows everything. So you're saying, think in this way. Maybe you're fighting with your landlord and you say, you are a real estate attorney. You are a marketing pro, like you said. It can really think in any way you want, and it'll give you answers based on that, which is so handy for so many things, both personal, professional, whatever it is.
It is. Okay, finally, did you know that Vladimir Putin just released AI for everybody? I mean, for everybody in Russia.
Oh, really?
It's called Chat KGB. Chat KGB. It asks all the questions and you are obligated to answer it.
That was actually pretty good.
Okay,
well done.
Some of them are bad. I mean, I'm trying.
You had a good one for me. Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
You can steal that from me. All right, Al, thanks for being here as always. Still to come, we have more of your phone calls as well as, oh, no, what to do? Your credit card is out on the dark web. Bum, 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 bum. All right, Chev in Indianapolis, glad to have you with us.
I got a great story I would like to share with you, kind of lift things up a little bit here. And it has to do with something I read in The Current a couple of days ago. You had a tip on how to find your old home where you grew up by going to Google.
Right.
Or the Google Maps, rather. And I wanted to share a story. A couple of years ago, this past summer, my mom died. And the following fall, my dad and I were just kind of sitting there one day, and I was on Google Maps looking up something. And I turned to my dad and I said, do you remember the old address of the first home where I was kind of raised, and that's where I was born? It was a very, very small town outside of Rochester, Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I don't really remember the address. And I said, well, do you think we could find it? And I went to the little town, it's called Viola. Mm-hmm. And I went to it, and I Googled it, and I kept blowing it up. And I said, boy, it's not very big. It's literally like 50 or 60 people live in this little town. And I started trying to find a place that he would remember. And he said, well, we live very close to the general store there. And I'm looking, and I'm like, okay, I think I found the general store. So let me tell you, this is not a general store like you would think a general store now. This is an old-fashioned general store, 60 years ago.
Wow.
So I said, well, let me do this. So I got on the little man function, as I like to call it. I got the little man, and I went to the street view, and I started looking around. I said, does any of this look familiar? And he goes, oh, yeah, that's the old general store right there. He goes, okay, we're just up this road. So I walked down the road with him and everything, and we're looking around. He goes, there's the house right there. And he was able to spot the house. And it was really moving for me because I've never been back. We moved when I was 2 or 3 years old. And so I really don't have a lot of memories of there other than a lot of snow. And so it was kind of neat. And
what a great thing for you guys to do together after your mom passed away.
Yes, but here's where it got even better, because we got to talk, and he started sharing memories of those times and everything. And his best friend from when he worked there in Rochester at IBM, he and his wife still live there. His best friend happens to also be my godfather. And they have not connected in decades.
Wow.
I mean, they've shared Christmas cards and whatnot, but haven't seen each other in decades. And I said, you know what, Dad? I said, we should go up there next summer for just a trip. Let's go up there to do that. So he connected with his friend, told him we were coming up there. And last summer, we drove up to Rochester and reconnected with them. And it was like we had just seen him last week.
Oh.
I mean, and it was so neat to spend all that time with him and hear all these stories. We parked in the middle. We went to the little town in Viola, and we drove out there and parked, and we walked all around and actually found the house that I grew up in.
How fabulous is that? And it all started just sitting around, messing around with Google Maps. It's a wonderful thing about technology, and that we're able to go back and experience and to look things. I mean, when I looked up 111 Washington Avenue, South Amboy, New Jersey, 08879. I mean, I still remember that address, right? Is that, I all of a sudden I was like, gosh, how many times, did I wear my Easter outfit, standing on that front porch, or riding my bike and fighting with my brother because he farted on my face. He did once. It was so gross. I still can't forgive him for that to this day. My sisters and my grandmother coming from Russia and, staying with us for summers at a time, or just riding my bike for hours and hours and hours, and coming home and my mom saying, did you have fun today? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm starving. I haven't been home since 8 and it's like 4 p.m. I mean, or the time that I made a snowball and I threw it at a cop car, not knowing that the policeman had the window down, and hit him right on the side of his face. And then I ran, and of course he hunted me down and brought me directly home to my mother. It was like, Kimberly, I always knew I was in trouble. Kimberly, wasn't Kimberly, it was Kimberly. That was bad. It was bad. Hey, listen, we talked about the current. If you're not getting my free newsletter, this type of stuff we pass along every single day, you can sign up right now over at getkim.com. Chev, thanks again for telling us a great story. And I know that more people than ever are going to be like, you know what? I'm going to do that too. Yes, look down that memory lane. All right, let's see who we have up next. Sue in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hi there, Sue.
From one of your newsletters, which I read every day, you had something about a guest network for your different things that you have in your house, rather than putting it through the same network. Now, I have an Asus RT AC5300, It's about 6 years old, but it seems to still work really well. But I have CASA, which is the TP-Link units for turning on lights on and off, and Blink. I have 10 units on the Blink, and I have 5 Alexa units on.
Well, you know what? You're just wired and fired over there, Sue. That's awesome.
I know. At one time, I was an early adopter of everything, and that's what happened is I'm, getting older, and the brain's not working as well. And
no, I don't know. You know what? You can use that excuse on somebody else. Okay, it's not. I'm not falling for this crap. I mean, I'm older, Kim, and I can't think, and my memory's gone, and I've got 22 devices on my network. No, doesn't go together. Let me tell you what you need. First of all, a router that's 6 years old, too old. Okay. Probably isn't getting the right firmware updates anymore. You can try to see if it does. So the whole idea with the guest network is that we're going to put all your Internet of Things on a separate network so that if, in fact, one of them gets hacked, it doesn't get to your primary network and all your important files that are on that network. So I'm going to send you a link to the newer router that will work with everything that you have. And it also has a guest network. And, it's we're on Wi-Fi 6 now. I don't know what you're on, but it's probably not there anymore. Now, did you say you had a TP-Link? Did you have TP-Link?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what I want you to do is, Maddie, I know you're screening today. Give Sue the link to that TP-Link AX5400. That's the model number. TP-Link AX5400. Well, I want you to get a 5400. It's a Wi-Fi 6 router. And it's about, it's about $600 or, no, not $600. I'm sorry. It's about $160. And so it's got USB ports for media sharing. It's got some AV parental controls are free. But I like that it will work with all your other existing TP-Links. 6 years on a router, folks. Time to like turn it in and get a new one, especially if it's not getting any more firmware updates. And Sue, thank you for your call. Hey, just a quick reminder, if you want to drop me your questions, head over to commando.com and hit that link that says email Kim on the homepage. All right, so your credit card number is on the dark web. What should you do? Number one, contact a credit reporting agency like Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, and you want to request a credit freeze. This will stop anyone else from accessing your credit. It makes it harder for thieves to open new accounts. And then you also want to ask for these free fraud alerts from the credit reporting agencies. And then finally, make sure that you shut that credit card down and you get a new one, especially if your bank was part of the leak. Hey, just a quick reminder, make sure that you enter to win that $500 Amazon gift card. Do it now while you're thinking about it. Head to winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com.
Thanks for listening to the Kim Komando Show. Here's hour 4.
$500,000. Oh my gosh, that's right. For that amount of money, you could be one of 6 people to enjoy suborbital travel. That's over 100,000 feet above Earth. I don't think I could do that, to go have dinner. Company by the name of Space VIP, a space tourism company. They got together with a Michelin star chef, a guy by the name of Rasmus Monk, and they crafted this menu for a 6-hour journey above Earth via spaceship Neptune. Okay. This is not really a spaceship. Well, I guess it is. It's a hydrogen-filled space balloon. And then you're going to eat as you watch sunrise over the Earth's curvature. Okay, that would be really amazing. Yes, but $500,000, wow. I just hope the restaurant has a great atmosphere. Oh, yeah, that was a good one. On that happy note, I'm Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you once again. So thrilled that you're here with me. It's wonderful. And you're about ready to get more tech smarts because every single thing is now a tech thing. And of course, you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top stations across the United States. And you can get us as a podcast, as a webcast, commercial-free over at commando.com. And by the way, you can also get the show as a commercial-free podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Just go ahead and search for Commando, of course, with a K, wherever you get your podcasts. And that's right. Our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you're just too shy to come on a big-time show and podcast, I get that. You can always drop me your questions over at commando.com. There's a link that says Email Kim. Already, every single day, I go to at least 35 or 40 different websites to make sure we're both up to date on what's going on in the tech-verse. And here are the top 5 things you need to know that's happening right now. And we're going to go back to 1994. That's when automakers first began equipping all cars and trucks with that so-called black box, we were told that it would only collect accident and engine performance data. Well, 30 years later, it's a whole different story. It was just a matter of time before the car manufacturers realized how much money they could make by selling the data in the car's black box. So instead of recording only accident and performance data, today's cars are equipped with something called EDRs. Yes, EDRs, event data recorders. And they keep track of just about everything. It knows when you're speeding, hard braking, rapidly accelerating. It automatically and wirelessly reports everything to data brokers like LexisNexis. And this data is turned into your driving risk score that is sold to your insurance company, which is then going to use this to what? Oh, you're so smart, raise your rates. So you might be saying, oh, Kim Commando, this is an invasion of my privacy. It is, but it's not illegal. Moving on to number 2, which AI chatbot is the best? I wrote about this for USA Today and the New York Post as I put them to the test, ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, and Perplexity. And I asked 3 to write a note excusing me for my Aunt Sarah's party. And then I also asked them to write a pitch for my new theoretical business and also, what about a hike? So Gemini won the dinner party with the most thoughtful note, recognizing the effort and love that my Aunt Sarah put into the event. Now, ChatGPT won the business pitch with the most imaginative quotes about the product and all its great benefits. Now, for the hike, ChatGPT laid out all the trails, told me about the history and the best times to go. Now, keep in mind, none of my requests required any medical, legal, or in-depth technical know-how. For that, I don't trust any of them. Moving on to number 3, EVs. We just don't want them. So guess what? The government is starting to crack down. The government has decided that we have no other choice and force is necessary. The Biden administration is ready to go with new, harsher and auto emission standards. So for the next 3 years, to help stimulate an ailing EV economy, Washington is going to relax emission standards just a little bit. But by 2027, the push is going to hit hard, really hard. Only 30% of all vehicle sales can be gasoline powered. Now, let me tell you something. If they really want us to buy EVs, they have to make them better. That has to have a longer range. We need to have actual recharging stations where we want them and need them. So if the automakers know that within 36 months, this is my point, we're going to be forced to buy an EV anyway, they have no incentive to make any changes. So we're just going to lose all around. This coming in at number 4, what qualifies as high-speed broadband? ISPs are doing their best to sell the most expensive high-speed broadband access plan to everyone. So it's the question, how fast does it have to actually be high speed? So there was a time not too long ago when a 25 megabit line, that was fast, but not anymore. For the first time in 9 years, the FCC's annual high-speed internet assessment has revisited the speed issue. Guess what they say? You don't have a high-speed internet connection unless you're getting at least 100 megabit downloads and at least 20 megabits uploading. But really, think about this. 1 gigabit lines are now routinely available to so many homes. I'm surprised that the FCC considers 100 megabits fast, really. So bottom line here, always get the fastest line that you can afford. And finally, this coming in at number 5, ready or not, planning for summer vacation time is here. But there's one destination that we're just not going to be choosing anymore. You ready for it? Airbnb and Vrbo. They're just done. And they really only have themselves to blame. I mean, we're just kind of fed up. We're done with all the stories about the creepy hosts, the hidden spy cameras, inaccurate descriptions, terrible Wi-Fi, dirty places. So to show you how Airbnb shot itself in the foot, only now, hard to believe that they're banning indoor cams on properties after years and millions of complaints. Hotels are back bid time. Now, the losers here are not only Airbnb and Vrbo investors and shareholders, but so many people counted on rental income from a second home to just last forever without giving any thought to what was really happening in the real estate marketplace and with Airbnb and Vrbo. So what this means to you is that if you have some extra cash laying around, you might be able to pick up a rental property at a really sweet deal. So you might just want to keep that in mind. You know, speaking of, my friend used to run a hotel, but now he runs an Airbnb. And I asked him if, changes and what's going on has given him any new challenges. And he said, no, Kim, it's entirely in keeping. Oh, yeah, I heard you growing with that. All right, coming up, we have some great calls that you don't want to miss. We're going to talk about how to blur your home on Google Maps, and what's going on with the birds and your apps and phones. It's really kind of a fun story. And then really, on the important side, how to know the best voice commands for in times of emergencies. And of course, you got me. You never want to miss. I'm your buddy. I'm your pal. I'm Kim Komando. Hey, I'm super excited to tell you that I'm giving away a $500 gift card. Yes, I want to give you $500. I do. I want to give you $500. So you're sitting there saying, hey, Kim Komando, I'd like $500. How do I give $500? Well, you go to this special site, winfromkim.com. Once again, winfromkim.com. Go there, winfromkim.com. And that's where you can enter to win a $500 Amazon gift card. I know. So think of everything that you could buy with that. $500. I'm just going to give it to you. All right. So I know you're saying okay, what's the catch? Okay. The catch is this. You have to get at least one issue of my free newsletter. That's it. Just get one issue. If you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. It's easy to sign up. It's easier to unsubscribe. And so what you want to do is go to winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. All right, let's see who's up first. How about Jessica in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? Hi there, Jessica.
So I just wanted to say thanks for taking my call. And my mom and I are big fans, and we get your newsletter every day. And we love all the information that you give everybody out there. So thank you.
Thank you.
But so what I called about was I have been getting these scam emails, and they're kind of concerning to me because I've gotten, I think 3 or 4 of them so far, and I actually just got one the other day. And I like to check all of my emails, and I go through them, and of course a lot of them's junk, and I don't even open them, and I just delete. Well, these kind of got my attention because they all sort of started the same, and they said greetings, and I was just like, I know these are scam emails, but I want to read them anyway and see what they say.
Sure.
And maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I didn't click any of the links or anything on them, but I did open them. So basically, all of the emails say almost the same thing, and they just say that there's some hacking group called APT, and that they have gained access to all of my devices that I've been logged into my email on. They've logged into my email, and whatever devices I've been using, they have access to those. And then this person said on all of them, all those emails said that they purchased email accounts, including mine, and that's how they got access to log into my email and everything. And this last email said, and the other emails didn't mention this, but this last email did. So I wanted to ask you about this. It said something called the Cobalt Strike Beacon.
I don't know what it is. What are they saying?
They're just basically saying that they have downloaded all of my information, all of my data and everything, videos, social media, chat history, everything like that, and put this virus in. And
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
The thing that I'm mostly concerned about, I guess, is that they say that, and this is not true. It says that I go to these adult websites, and they have videos of me on these adult websites or something, and that they're going to send them
to everybody. Jessica, it's all extortion. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, because they're going to ask you for a couple of $100 or however much it is in Bitcoin, and
Bitcoin. Yes.
Okay. And so, because otherwise they're going to release all these naked picture videos of you, because that's what you do every night, and then you're going to get all embarrassed in front of your family members and friends unless you pay.
Yes.
Okay. Here's the deal. Okay. They're playing the odds. Okay, because there's a lot of people who hang out on the porn sites. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Not me.
So when they're hanging out on the porn sites, they figure, okay, if we send this out to millions of people, there's probably going to be a good percentage back is going to say, oh crap, ooh, that's going to be bad. I'll send you the money. I mean, what's $500? And they're not going to send.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it a bad thing that you looked at the email as long as you didn't click anything? But I will tell you, by you opening the email, just opening that email, there's a secret beacon inside that email that just went back to those people. It said, oh, this is a good email address. This is a valid email address. So we're gonna put her on a list. So we're gonna sell her email address to somebody else because we authenticated that email address. So now you're gonna get even more of this garbage. So I know it's tempting to look. I know it is. Okay. But you're better off just like, all right, you know what? I don't need to look. I got more important things to do, right? Yeah. I mean, so if it's in the junk folder, odds are it's a pretty good sign. It used to be, years ago, you'd want to check your junk folder because, maybe you were missing something. But today, the spam filters are so good that it's not like really legitimate mail is going to end up in the spam filter with a high percentage anymore. It just doesn't really happen. So, Jessica, just go on and move forward and then just delete all that spam and junk, and you don't need to look at it. And then, my advice is too, like if somebody really wants to get a hold of you, if it's that important, okay, they're not just going to email you, they're going to text and call you too. So I wouldn't be worried about like not finding out that you just won $1 million in the Publishers Clearinghouse. Jess, thanks for your call. I know. You want to look, but you just can't. All right. Let's see who's up next. Wayne in Orlando, Florida. Hi there, Wayne.
Well, I travel some, but you have convinced my wife that we have to have a separate computer to handle all of our financial tax type paperwork that's not connected in any way to our other computer systems.
Okay.
And what I'm looking for is a strong recommendation. We have a lot of Apple computer within the house, but I'm looking for what a good laptop is that maybe isn't extremely expensive, but will secure what we need.
And so do you guys feel like that you would fall prey to some type of scam that may be out there?
Well, I'm not going to say yes to that. At the same time, everything on the news you read about is somebody scamming or breaking into the bank or some other financial facility, government facility that gives out pertinent key information.
Yeah, it does seem like that, doesn't it? It's kind of crazy. There's a couple of thoughts. Number one is you could find a used Apple laptop, but boy, that's going to cost you $1,000. Definitely not inexpensive as you said that you'd like. What we can look at is either a beefed up Chromebook, but at that price, you might as well just buy a nice Dell laptop. And you can pick up a 15-inch Dell with a nice Intel processor, or, of course, has all the bells and whistles with Windows 11. And then you're going to pair that with some good internet security software like Total AV and Protect with Kim. And it's probably going to run you about $400. Does that sound realistic?
Well, that sounds better than a used Apple.
Yeah, I think so too. Because then you're looking at a used Apple, which, they last a long time. Don't get me wrong. But when it comes time to, really have that extra computer. And the whole thought behind the extra computer is that if you click the wrong link or if you go to the wrong place, that all of a sudden it just doesn't open up everything. It's the way we have it set up here, and everybody who does all the financial records here at the studio. So hang on the line, Wayne. We'll send you a link to this Dell computer. And thanks for your call. If you do need that internet security software like you do for that Windows machine, make sure you head over to protectwithkim.com. Once again, that's protectwithkim.com. It's like $19 for the first year. Again, that's protectwithkim.com. Oh, Wayne, be sure that you tell your wife I said a big hello and thank you, and that she is just so smart. She's not only smart for listening to me every single day, like you said, but she's super smart because, Wayne, she married you. That's right. All right, let's go ahead and pass along a great tip. More and more Americans are just using buy now, pay later. They've got the names like Klarna, Affirm, and even Apple will spread the cost of what you're buying to smaller chunks that you can pay over a few weeks or even months. It's kind of like the modern old school layaway plan. Now, in 2023, it's going to be so much higher this year. 88 million people used BNPL. That's buy now, pay later in their purchases. So is it the right choice? Is it the best choice for you? Yeah, making smaller payments can make larger purchases just kind of feel more manageable. And this is certainly an option if you don't have any credit cards and you can't get credit. But here's the deal that you have to know. Buy now, pay later, these apps and these services are not regulated like credit cards, at least not yet. You want to check the fine print for sky-high interest rates. I mean, I did some research and I found some fees up to 36%. Oh my gosh. Or even 25%. Now, Apple just announced that they're going to be reporting their buy now, pay later purchases, so it actually shows up on your credit report. So once Apple does it, the other ones are sure to follow. So you just have to remember, if you can't afford it now, you probably just can't afford it later. So I know it's so tempting because wherever you check out, it says, oh, do you want to split this into equal payments? And you're like, yes, that would be fabulous. Just say no. Hey, speaking of, you might be wondering, like, what happens if you don't pay? What happens if you don't pay? Well, of course, now I mentioned it's going to go on your credit report. Apple has said publicly that if you use their buy now purchase plan and you just don't pay, that you'll never, ever, ever be offered it again. That's just the bottom line. Because it's kind of like instant credit, really. Just because as soon as you say buy now, pay later, I mean, nobody's going to run a credit report. Well, not yet. This is all changing so quickly. All right, still to come, we have some tips on how to use your phone to identify birds because it's springtime. You're going to love this. And of course, we have more of your great phone calls and more of me, Kim Komando, and some great tips that you never want to miss here on The Kim Komando Show. Hey, in case there's ever an emergency, you need to know certain voice commands, not just for you, but for members of your family and also your circle of friends. I'm going to be passing some things along because I know you're that super smart person in your family. So I want to make sure that you know all these commands and you can also spread the word. All right, before we go back to all of your phone calls, let's talk about your home on Google Maps because anyone with a phone or a computer can actually see where you live. I mean, with an address in Google, it just takes a second to scope it out, right? Now, what if you don't want this? Well, here's a security pro tip to secure your home from cyber creeps. You know, Google Maps Street View, I love it. It's great when you're lost, or maybe you just want to hunt down a building or a gas station, but it also has a privacy liability. Here's the reason why. Thieves and stalkers can peek outside your house remotely with its 360 cameras. They don't even get out of their house. They don't have to get it out of their cars. So there's a little known trick you need to know. You can actually blur the photo of your home in Google Street View. Here's how. You want to go to this special address, maps.google.com. Once again, that's maps.google.com. And you want to put in your address in the search bar and press enter. And then that's where you're going to see Street View. Now, here's where you need to look. At the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you're going to see a little box that says report a problem. It's really, really small, not by accident, trust me, but it's there. So another screen is pop-ups. And then that's where you can request to blur your house. You can also adjust the size of the image to fit anything else that you like out of Street View. So like just a couple of seconds, you might get your privacy back. Might. Not 100% sure, but you can do it. Once again, that address is maps.google.com. And then in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, tap report a problem, and then just go ahead and follow the prompts from there. All right, moments away from another great tip you don't want to miss. But let's see, Bernie in Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin. Hi there, Bernie.
Well, thank you very much. The weather here is not quite as warm as what it is where you are, but it will be spring tomorrow, they say, but we have snow coming on Friday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I just want you to know I enjoy reading your newsletter every morning, and I always find at least something that gets me to go look at my accounts and my equipment just to check things over a little bit.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, Bernie. Thanks for those kind words. What's going on?
Well, back around Thanksgiving time, we had both our credit card and our debit card get compromised. And once we got all that settled with the bank and the credit card issuer and all that, decided it was time to maybe look at security. So resetting passwords, setting up the two-factor verification, and so on. Now, back in the days when I had maybe only a dozen different sites that I looked at, yeah, it was probably a naughty thing to do to have the same password for all of them, but I've changed that. And one of the things I've noticed as I'm working on passwords is when you want to change them, that Google sets up a little thing of suggested passwords.
Sure.
And, they're always a big jumble with capitals and small case letters, numbers, symbols, and whatever. And I'm just wondering if those are okay to use.
Sure. I actually think it's a good idea to use those. I use whenever Apple generates a password for me, I do that myself because it does come up with a whole mishmash of characters, doesn't it? It's like numbers, upper, lower case, hyphens, and, gang signs, whatever it may be in there. And you're like, whoa. And it makes it really difficult for brute force attacks in order to kind of crack that password. And it also makes every password unique for every single account, which is, the fundamental security right now. And it's automatically saved into your password manager, Google's password manager, or the iCloud keychain, which does encrypt it. It gives it accessibility across all your devices. And so you might be saying like, okay, so what's the downside to this, right? What's the downside?
Yeah.
The downside is that you're relying on one ecosystem. So if you ever switch from Google, if you ever switch from Apple, is that you're like kind of out of luck because you have all your passwords saved, right? I mean,
true.
So you're going to have to redo all the passwords, and then that's why it's advisable to use a password manager. We have a brand new sponsor called Keeper Security, and it's a darn good. It's only like $1.50 a month or something like that, and it generates passwords for you, gives you those master passwords, and also it becomes an easy way too when you want to share a password, maybe maybe even mention like where your passwords are in an estate type of plan and good things like that. So if you feel comfortable using Google, you're going to stick with them forever, then I don't see any problem with that. But if you're looking for more flexibility, more choice, don't want to be tied to big tech, head over to keepersecurity.com/Kim. Great password manager for business as well as family and single use. And again, they're giving a great deal. It's like 50% off. Bernie, thanks for your kind words about the newsletter. If you're not already getting it, make sure that you sign up now over at getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. All right. Is your daily walk getting a little bit boring and it's springtime and you hear all the birds? It's been estimated there have been over 10,000 different bird species, each with their unique sound. So in case you're sitting there walking around saying like, I wonder what kind of bird that is. I mean, yeah, they have different calls for everything that they do. I don't know if you know this, like, where they're located, what time of day it is, even when they're, doing the wild thing. But thanks to modern technology, there's a great free app that helps you identify different bird species through a picture or through their chirps only. It's called Merlin Bird ID. It's from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. Merlin Bird ID. Once again, Merlin Bird ID. With it on your phone, you identify birds by answering a few simple questions, snapping a photo, or maybe just recording a bird sound, and then you get real-time suggestions. It's actually a lot of fun. And so if you have never tried this, put it on your phone, your device, just, give it a shot. Again, it's Merlin Bird ID. All right, still to come, we have some more of your phone calls, as well as a really important tip at the end about voice commands that you need to memorize just in case of emergencies here on the Kim Komando Show. So, do you want $500? I want to give you $500. Yes, that's it. I'm just going to give you $500. So how do you get this $500? You just have to go to one place, winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. And that's where you enter to win this $500 Amazon gift card. So you might be sitting there saying, oh, come on, Kim, there must be some big gotcha. It's not a big gotcha. You just get one issue of my free newsletter. That's it. In your email box. That's all. Not going to sell, lease, distribute your email address to anybody ever, by the way. And if you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. I make it that easy. It's one click to unsubscribe. So again, where do you go? Winfromkim.com. Winfromkim.com. That's where you can enter to win a $500 Amazon gift card. Let me tell you, you should do it right now because everybody can use $500, right? Yes. Winfromkim.com. All right, back to the phones we go with Marty in Atlanta, Georgia. Hi there, Marty.
Oh, I got hacked back in December of last year on Facebook,
okay.
And he got all my info. He got my password and everything, and he used my account and my profile to reach out to any friends that I couldn't get in contact with at the time. And he's trying to scam them. And I'm trying to get this account deleted, and don't know how to go about doing it. Facebook itself has really been no help to me.
Oh, my gosh. Say that's not true, Marty. Really? The company that cares about every single one of their customers? That one?
Yeah, that's the one.
So how do you think you got hacked?
Oh, I walked into it.
Well, tell me.
I had a senior moment. We were at a party, and we were in the middle of judging a contest, and I got a instant messenger text from a friend of mine that I've known for years, asking me to help him out. He was stuck, and he needed some codes to get back online. I didn't think anything of it, and I gave him the keys to the front door, and then I realized that I was hacked, and it was too late. He'd already changed my password and changed my profile, so that was on me. That's never happened before, and it's humiliating to think that I walked into that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you admitted it. I mean, sometimes I ask people the question like, "Oh, Kim, I have no idea how that happened." I'm like, yeah. But you know what?
I walked into that.
So everybody, you need to be careful. Stop giving out some codes, okay? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I'm sure you already went to the Facebook page and said, "I've been hacked," right?
Right.
Okay. And if that didn't do the magical trick, then what you need to do is invite your family members and friends to report your page. And the more people that you can report it as fake and impersonating, that's the more attention that you're going to get from Facebook. Unfortunately, it always astounds me that we have this major corporation here in the United States, headquartered in the U.S. And of course, they have customers all around the world, and I get that. But from this major corporation, a public company, that we as a society have accepted the fact that we cannot get help from them. Okay. Even though they profit from us, even though they sell our data, they start feeding us more data and everything along the way. For some reason, we think like, oh, it's a tech company. Why should they actually have a phone number? Why should they have a phone number? Okay. I mean, imagine if that was the airlines. Could you?
Oh, my gosh.
They would go ballistic. What do you mean I can't call American or United Airlines? Nope. You got to fill out a form and fill out that form and just sit and wait for somebody to maybe by the luck of God respond to you. It just doesn't work. The other thing that you can do, Marty, is go over to Facebook's social media account, on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and complain over there. I have a link that we're going to send you. I'm going to put you on hold. I'm sorry that you have to go through all this. I'm going to put you on hold. And then when I do, Amber's going to give you a link that you can share with your family members and friends about how they can report your account as hacked.
That's great.
So, Marty, thanks for your call today. So many emails I get from people having your Facebook pages hacked. So don't be Marty. Be smarter than Marty. All right, let's see who's next. Gary in Ocean City, New Jersey. Yeah, for where I grew up. Hi there, Gary.
Hey, here's the situation. My wife and I are both retired. We have a grandson and a great-grandson down in North Carolina, and we visit them occasionally. And I got out that we normally do a straight-through drive. It's about 11 hours, but now we're both retired. I said to my wife, let's take 2 days, and we always do take the scenic route, but it's not real scenic when you're rushing like that. So I decided to take 2 days this time on the way down, and I got out Google Maps, and I set it for, fastest, and it takes me straight down Route I-81 through Virginia to North Carolina.
Okay.
I switch it over to the shortest distance, and it takes me down I-81 straight through Virginia into North Carolina. I went the scenic route. Skyline Drive, Blue Ridge Parkway, take our time, nice time of the year to do it. And I try to drag the map over, but the
wants to keep going.
Drive and it's like all over the place, and your hand slips a little bit, and then you're on some other road, and it loops around in big circles. And
all right, well, here's how we need to fix this. Okay, Gary, I know what you're talking about. And I'm going to send you a link exactly on how to do this. Okay.
Okay.
You're going to use Google Maps, but you're going to set specific waypoints, and so that this way you're going to tell Google Maps, these are the places where I want to stop. Okay. So you add multiple stops, even if they're not places that you necessarily want to visit. You're just going to put the stops along the way. So this way it's going to force Google Maps to stick to the way that you want to go and not the way that it wants you to go. Get my drift?
Get it. Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to send you a link how to do that. Now, there's also, since you guys like to take scenic road trips, there's also a website. I'm going to put it into our free newsletter. It's I just ran across it not too long ago, the other day. It's myscenicdrives.com. Once again, that's myscenicdrives.com. It doesn't offer the level of detail, say, Google Maps, but it does offer a whole bunch of scenic drives. Maybe you guys will find some new routes to kind of check out. And speaking of, just along the same note, is that there's a GPS called, it's Gaia, Gaia, that if you are into off-roading and hiking, you definitely ought to check this out. It's Gaia GPS. So anyway, back to Google Maps. You're going to set the different waypoints. You're going to force Google Maps to stop where you want it to stop, so that this way you are in charge. It's not in charge. And again, hang on the line, Gary. We're going to send you a link there. Amber can give that to you as far as how to set this up yourself. And appreciate you getting on the air with us today. See, here's the deal. I mean, everybody knows about Google Maps, but you wouldn't know about these waypoints or how to actually do this without me in your life. And that's why I'm here. By the way, if you ever have a question for me and you're not just too shy to come on the show, or maybe you're just too busy, you think about it during the week, you can always drop me your questions over on the website. That's commando.com, of course, KOMANDO.com. There's a big old link that says Email Kim right at the top. And so if you click that, fill out that form, I read every single note. Yes, every single note that you send me there. Again, that's commando.com with a K, of course, and hit that link that says Email Kim. All right, let's just face it. It's a situation that no one wants to be in. You're caught in an emergency. You can't move, but you need help, okay? I don't want you to give up. Just remember, you have a superhero right in your pocket. It's your smartphone. And even if it's not in your pocket, you can still do these tricks, okay? Because your phone is equipped with not just great, but downright crucial life-saving features. Now, let's tackle that emergency scenario again. So you can't reach out, you can't dial a number. So what are you going to do? What could you do? Think about it. What are you going to do? The answer is that you're going to call your smart assistant, whether it's Siri or Google Assistant or even Alexa, because they're right there ready for action. Just activate them with their wake words and follow by a request to call emergency services. You could also say, where's the nearest hospital? Find the hospitals near me. You can also tell your smart assistant to call somebody else, right? If you're in a dark room, you could tell your smart assistant to turn on the flashlight so that when emergency services gets to your house, that they can see a flashlight because they know that's where you're located. And every second counts. So it can also share your location and your whereabouts. So just remember that the smart assistant is voice activated and you can always use that. Hey, just a quick reminder to sign up for that $500 Amazon gift card at winfromkim.com.